Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing something new. I'm doing like a vlog style, which I've never actually done before. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited. So today I really wanted to go through like what a typical day of eating looks like whenever I am in a cut. I find that these videos really help me at the beginning of my journey. And yeah, I'm just here to share with you guys things that you can implement that maybe you didn't even realize you thought that you could, if that makes sense. Okay. Hello. So it is freshly in the morning time. I have walked my dogs. I've done my skincare routine. And the first thing that now I'm going to really start with is writing in my planner what I want to get done for the week ahead. Today is a Monday. So something I've been really into lately is creating habits and habit change, stuff like that. And I am a person who I'm not not super organized, and things will fall through the cracks for me if I don't write things down. And if I really don't make a schedule for myself, then it's hard to hold myself accountable, and I end up just taking like a really long time to do different types of tasks, and I don't get everything done. Anyway, I'm gonna do this right now before I actually get started on anything else, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay. Now that my daily planning is done, you guys, I am going to put on a little bit of makeup, get ready for the day. I don't always do this. There's actually plenty of times where just if I'm working from home, I don't really put on makeup because I don't feel the need to. But lately it's been feeling good just to like get the routine in, and honestly just put on a little bit of makeup, you know, just feel a little pretty while we are having our day. So I am about to re-enter into a cut. I had been cutting for 3 months time, and then I was just really hitting a brick wall. Yeah, I was just feeling really tired, fatigued, getting frustrated really easy. I was like on edge all the time. I was like bursting in tears pretty frequently, which is not like me. So those all were really good signals to me that it was time to kind of take a break from the cutting process. And that's exactly what I did. I took 2 weeks off where I just brought my calories up to an estimated maintenance level. It's called a diet break. And you guys can take a diet break throughout a cutting journey for a few different reasons. One is what I was just talking about, is if you are really hitting like a ceiling and you're just hungry all the time, your sleep is really bad mood, etc., etc. Those things you should be expecting during a cut, but it reached like a peak. That is a great time that you can take a break and introduce more calories for a period of time. You might want to take a diet break if you are going on vacation and you know that you're just not going to be adhering to your diet. That's fine if it's like a week. Some people will do a diet break for an extended period of time, 2 to 4 weeks even, and then go back in a cut. So what I did, I just wanted to test it out and see how I was feeling with everything. So I ended up taking my diet break for about 2 weeks, and then now I am just ready to go back and get into my cut. Okay, you guys, so first meal of the day, if I'm having a work from home day or the weekend or whatever, I like to have like a really nice substantial breakfast. Breakfast is probably one of my favorite meals. And so at this point in time, I still have the calories to do like a nice old big breakfast. I'm gonna do some protein pancakes and an omelet. Actually, the macros for this recipe isn't bad at all. It's around 500 calories, and you could probably make it even a little bit lower if you had like a sugar-free, maple syrup or something, but I do not have that. So I'm just gonna show you guys what I am making here and how to make these Trader Joe's like protein pancakes just a little bit more tasty. I am not a fan of just like dumping protein powder into a lot of foods. I hate it. I've tried it on many different occasions and I just don't like it. However, these for one serving is already 10 grams of protein, and it doesn't have that like just disgusting like powder taste, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how people add like a scoop and a half to their oatmeal and make it like 40 grams of protein. Like, I don't know how they do it, okay? I can't eat that stuff. Can't eat it, won't do it, not gonna do it. All right, let's get into the pancakes. So I make the pancakes first. So while the pancakes are in the pan, that's whenever I start on the omelet. So first up, I'm going to measure out the first serving of the pancakes. So 40 grams yields about 2 pancakes, and actually with this recipe it yields a little bit more than that, but I am going to put in 40 grams here, and 40 grams of this is the 140 calories and 10 grams of protein. So that's actually a good amount of protein for like flour especially. So 40. And then I like to add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of brown sugar, just to make it a little bit nicer. I'm gonna add just like 6 grams, which just isn't that much, you guys. I'm gonna stir that up. I really like to put banana in these because it just makes it a lot sweeter. And I feel like I just really like the consistency. The pancakes have been turning out pretty darn good. So I'm gonna put about 50 grams of banana. Is that right? Yeah, perfect. That seems to be a pretty good ratio to me. You want to mush them up until they are in like a paste. Woo! There she is. That took a lot of work. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla to this. I just like put in a capful. I'm then gonna put in 1/3 of milk because that's the recipe, like the box actually calls for water, but again, I just feel like milk makes it a little bit better. And if you were still trying to save a little bit more calories, this is a whole milk. You could always go for like a skim milk, low fat milk. I'm gonna pour this in and then stir her up. You don't want to over stir. There she is. She's ready. 1 pancake. My light sorts keeps dying, but whatever. So I really wanted to share breakfast with you guys and just like a full day of eating, because I totally used to believe that like everything was gonna make me fat. I used to believe that I was the type of person, I would try to cut out everything. I'd cut out sweets. I would do no carb, low carb. I would just be scared to like use a little bit of butter on my toast or in cooking, or I'd be scared of having even like toast for breakfast, stuff like that. And I definitely, absolutely thought that I could not have something like pancakes for breakfast if I had a fat loss goal. I was wrong. That's not it. So I really wanted to share like a whole day of eating with you guys to help show you that you don't need to be super restrictive. You don't need to change your diet like a crazy amount. You might need to make some smarter swaps here and there. It just kind of depends. All right, you guys, so she gets about 2 grams of butter per slice. So I should have 3 grams of butter on here. I'm sorry, 6 grams of butter on here by the time I'm done. And then you guys may have noticed my omelet. It is so tasty, I swear. It just came out funny from the pan. I didn't get a really good flip on it. My pan has just been a little bit funny lately. I blame my boyfriend for using super high heat on the pan with nothing in it. Ooh. Top off my pancakes with some blueberries. Get in some little healthy micronutrients in here. And then, you know, we just bought the cheap version of syrup as we had a bunch of people over to cook several months ago, and this is just what I'm gonna use. So I used to just totally freak out over ingredients like this because it has like high fructose corn syrup in here. Well, this one just says corn syrup, but whatever. And I just no longer believe that it is as bad for you as I thought it was. I am not saying to go out and really seek these things, and I don't personally go out and choose foods with ingredients like this, but they are cheaper overall. And so I am a single person. I have a partner and I have not kids, I have fur babies. But for people who have families, my sister, for example, she's, you know, a family of 7. So stuff like this might be helpful for her because it's a lot less expensive than real maple syrup, and you know, there's 7 mouths to feed with it. So I no longer believe that this stuff is really, really bad for you based off of the scientific research of how people are gaining and losing weight. Individual ingredients don't cause you to gain weight or gain fat, you guys. It is calories in, calories out. If you are consistently overeating beyond how much energy you are expending in a day, that is whenever you tend to see weight gain. So also, my mom, her cabinet is like, her kitchen cabinet is full of ingredients like this, and I just used to be terrified whenever I was over visiting at her house and didn't want to eat anything. And now years later, I realized that that was just a part of like disordered eating. Like, it wasn't a good situation, and my mom and I just couldn't enjoy food together because I was so nitpicky and I was so like bratty over the fact that like she would have peanut butter with some, you know, high fructose corn syrup in it, or some syrup with high fructose corn syrup in it. I've since gotten over it. So I'm only going to use half a serving of this just because it is calorie dense still. It still has calories. If you were eating this a shit ton all the time, it could make you fat if it is causing you to overeat consistently. Anyway, so to keep the overall calories of my plate a little bit more in control, I'm just going to use half a serving of this guy. Breakfast is served, you guys. Omelet, protein pancakes. Yum, 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 yum. All right, you guys, I finished my breakfast and I made myself some coffee. I use actually Fairlife milk. If you guys have ever seen the brand in the grocery store, I love using that milk because it has more protein than like any other milk I've ever seen. For a cup, it has like 12 or 13 grams of protein in there, which is crazy. That's like about twice the amount that you find typically for a serving. So any little bit of protein counts, you guys. So I love to make my coffees at home because I can use the Fairlife milk and just squeeze out a little bit more protein for my day. All right, cheers. I'll see you guys whenever it's time to eat next. You guys, my light source died and I thought I had the battery charging this whole time. Turns out I did not. Anyway, so moving on, it is, you know, like around lunchtime. It's actually a late lunch. It's like 3 in the afternoon. And I don't really feel like eating a full meal. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a protein smoothie instead, just because it's just gonna be easier to drink. And yeah, I'm just not super hungry. So obviously if I was hungry, I would make more of a meal that I could, you know, chew, because that's enjoyable. Eating your food is enjoyable. I'm honestly just not that hungry right now. So I'm then going to make a protein smoothie. I'm gonna use 1UP Nutrition's coconut flavor protein powder. I am not affiliated in any way. I just happen to like this flavor for the smoothie that I'm gonna make. And I'll be honest, I am not a crazy protein drinker. I don't really like protein powders. What I have been enjoying instead though, especially on days where I am on the go and I need to catch up on my protein intake, I've been using Core Power's protein shakes. And they have a few different variations. This one is 26 grams of protein and it's only 170 calories. They also have one that's like 43 grams of protein. It just comes at a higher calorie cost. So it just depends. Sometimes I use that one depending on what my, you know, day-to-day looks like. But these are really, really easy to drink. It just tastes like chocolate milk. Like, you just don't get that like protein powdery, super sweetness, it's a big reason that I just don't really like protein powder, is because most of them are just too sweet and just like, okay, let's get back to the smoothie. Okay, first up, we are going to do a cup of milk, cup of our Fairlife milk because that has more protein. 1 cup is 240 milliliters. I just went to the grocery store and bought some more, thank goodness. Okay, so 250 milliliters. So this means I'm getting protein out of the milk itself and protein out of the powder. So this shake ends up being a good amount of protein. I do not have to do a crazy scoop of this if I don't want to. So 1 scoop of this powder is 37 grams, and that is equal to 23 grams of protein. I might do a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go mix this up right now before I add the other ingredients. Okay, now we are gonna add some mango and peach into the smoothie. And I'm gonna do like, I want a cup of fruit total. So what I like for the ratio is 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of frozen fruit. I am also now going to add some of this spinach mix. Technically just like pure spinach would have been great, but I don't have it. I don't mind that this has a few other things. This is really great just to add a little bit more micronutrients into your day, but also, honestly, I like that it makes the smoothie just not as sweet. I prefer the taste. I'm also gonna add a little bit of avocado. Again, it's gonna add some creaminess. I'm not gonna add too much here. About 25 grams of avocado. And then the final touch is some mint. Wow, thick, creamy. My cat has decided to join us, you guys. This is D'Artagnan. Wow, look at that. Look at that creamy goodness. Wow, I might need a spoon for this one. All right, so I've got my smoothie. I'm about to sit down and do some client check-ins. And I just want to really talk about protein, you guys. So one of the best things that you can do if you are trying to lose fat and lose weight is to focus on protein and getting enough protein in throughout the day. I am not talking about like, you know, for breakfast you had a toast with a little bit of peanut butter on it and some bananas. Peanut butter is not a great source of protein. It has some protein in it, but is mainly a fat source. I had like some chicken for dinner. That is not enough protein. You need to be having protein at every single meal to hit your protein targets. So I weigh 140 pounds right now because I am in a deficit. I'm going through a fat loss phase. I want to retain as much muscle as I can. And so I need a little bit of a higher protein amount than I would if I was probably just in maintenance. That is because as you are in an energy deficit, your body will break down muscle tissue to use as a fuel source. We are trying to prevent that. So if you can ingest enough protein, it helps mitigate that problem. And then protein is very satiating as well. So whenever you are dieting and you're starting to reduce your calories or increase your energy output, you are no doubt going to feel hungry at some point. Having enough protein throughout the day can help mitigate those things. Protein is very, very important on body composition. So remember, you don't want to just lose weight, you guys. You want to lose body fat. And while they both will kind of trend towards the same direction, at some point it kind of breaks off. Because as you build muscle mass onto your frame, muscle mass weighs more than fat does, but it is more lean tissue. So for some of you, you might be gaining muscle mass, losing fat at the same time, but your weight doesn't change that much because you are putting on more muscle mass. You're putting on more weight through the building of muscle. So you don't want to be overly focused on the scale alone because of that reason. So you could be heading in the right direction with body composition. And if you are just like looking at the scale and looking for the weight to just continuously drop, if your only focus is how much weight you lost, you are putting yourself at a disservice because you could be seeing body composition changes and you're just kind of looking at the wrong things. I'm 140 pounds. I'm trying to get in close to 140 grams of protein throughout the entire day. Another note, Also, do you guys like the vacuum in the background? My boyfriend had the lovely idea of hanging it there, and so there she is. Another thing, whenever you guys are really concentrated on getting enough protein in throughout the day, it honestly makes it really hard to overeat. It is really hard to overconsume protein because protein is so dense, and most true protein sources aren't that high in calories. So whenever you're eating a lot of protein and you're actually hitting your protein targets, if you are hitting your protein targets, you are naturally limiting the other food groups that you are eating. You are not eliminating them, but you are reducing that intake. And whenever you think about carbs and fats, they can come with a lot of calories. If you're eating a giant bowl of pasta, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. Pasta is totally fine, but you could still be eating a lot of calories in that meal. And instead, if you prioritize protein and have some pasta, then suddenly this meal becomes a lot less calorie dense, but very filling and satiating because of that hunk of protein that you're pairing with the pasta. So again, it makes it really hard to like really overeat unless you guys are just not hitting your protein goals and you're consistently falling short in filling up your foods day to day with really calorie dense sources of foods. Oh, hello. Look who got their light source back. I also changed my shirt just because I went on a walk earlier and it had warmed up a lot today. Thank the Lord, because it has been cold and dreary here in New York, and it's May. So I'm glad that we finally have some warmer weather. Anyway, I'm here, it's dinner time, and what I do, I like to order from this place called Cook Unity, and it is just a like ready meal service. So you just have to microwave or heat up, the food that they send you. So this one is a slow braised pork shoulder with some rice, and then, it has some vegetable on there. So this one is super high in protein. It's 46 grams of protein, but unfortunately it's really calorie dense, at least for taking into consideration my calorie allotment. One meal, this is 750 calories. So that is quite an expensive meal out of the calories that are for me that I'm supposed to hit for my deficit. My deficit is estimated around 1850 right now. So between all of the meals that I've shown you today, which is the smoothie, the pancakes with the omelet, and then this, and I did have one piece of Ferrero Rocher candy. I just didn't take a picture of it or anything, but I had one piece of candy, and I've already hit my calorie goal with my coffee. In general, I prefer not to have meals that are really calorie dense. And again, to me, this is calorie dense, is like almost half the calories that can have. So what I tend to do is I tend to make meals that are closer to 500 calories. That way, if I'm really craving a snack or I'm craving a sweet treat, I can have it, and it gives me just a little bit more flexibility in my day. If I was to eat everything together, then I'm actually still a teeny bit shy of my protein goal. I'm like about 10 grams away from my protein goal. And that is just because today, like, I honestly just didn't feel that hungry. And so I've only eaten 3 times today. And that first meal was capped around 33 grams of protein or so. So if that meal had been 40 grams, I would have been, closer to my goal, but it's no biggie. I'm 10 grams off. That's honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Tomorrow we'll see, hopefully I'm a little bit hungrier, which will help me eat a little bit more frequently, which will give me a chance to get in more protein throughout the day, if that makes sense to you guys. Everybody's calorie deficit is going to be very different. So even though I may be losing weight around 1850 calories, that is also taking into account my activity levels. It's taking into account my muscle mass, the fact that I'm resistance training, and also the fact that I had purposefully built up my metabolism prior to this in order to lose weight in a sustainable way. What do I mean by that? Whenever I first started tracking calories, I was only eating 15 to 1600 calories a day. So if I wanted to lose fat from that goal, one of the, most suggested ways to do that is to reduce your calories. I probably would have had to reduce my calories to 1300 to start seeing results out of that fat loss. I did not want to do that. And a lot of you, maybe watching this channel, hopefully, may be stuck on really low calorie diets because your metabolism is already starting at a place where it's on the lower end. Secret, if you are short like me, I'm 5'1", we have smaller containers, smaller organs, we tend to have smaller bone density, etc., less fluid. All of these things have an influence on your metabolism, which in turn just means you are surviving off of fewer calories than your taller counterparts. So I was very intentional about reverse dieting alongside resistance training to help get my metabolism adapted to a higher calorie amount first. And then actually this past fall, I went through a bulk where I intentionally gained weight to help me put on muscle mass, and I got my calories up to like 2,500 calories. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna put this in the oven. I'm gonna do my nightly routine, take off this makeup, and fill out my journal, eat, and then maybe have like a little bit of leisure time. So I hope you guys found today somewhat helpful. Please comment if you guys have any questions, and I hope to see you guys again.